Okay.
Howdy, howdy, folks. Welcome to Babble with Bronies again. I am Everlasting Joy. Joining me, as always, my good friends, MrBen and Twilight is Magic. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, everything's kind of gone to pot here. I'll be hosting it, but MrBen's going to co-host it with me. This should save everything.
My plan at attempted a coup has failed.
We can save the crystal ponies with a streamery.
All right, let's not waste any more time. We need to keep going. I'm not going to go over the news again. We're going to go right to the videos again. So hopefully he's still here.
I see him in chat still, yeah, so.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, we're going to pick up with Flint EXP's Pony Quest. I'm going to mute the call here so that way we can play it. Pony Quest. Hang on. Pony Quest by Flint EXP.
Now that is a crazy video.
And people wonder why I love it.
It's a good kind of crazy. It's
Now, like I was mentioning in the chat room, I saw this one, and because that one was actually shown to me, like about a day actually before Elliot actually told me, "Hey, you think we might be able to get this in the show?" I am one step ahead of you, brother.
I would have hit you over the head with a shovel or something if you didn't put this one in.
So,
Because this one was, it just falls under. If you're not going to put it in, I'll put it in next week at the very least.
say no, it was just. I love that. Yeah, did some EXP grinding right there.
All right, who else do we have? I don't think I see anyone who has video content. So, which one do you want to go with? Which one do you want to go with next, Mr. Ben?
Well, we got Sonata-licious by Jake Neutron in regards to the videos. We do have a third one there, but the thing is that particular artist for the other one never got back in touch with me about if we could show that or not. So, Jake Neutron, however, did.
All right.
So,
then let's do it.
Yep.
All right. Now I'm not going to mute the caller in this one, but just let the video play, please. Going live.
I'm the S to the O to the N-A-T-A. And ain't no other siren loves tacos like me. I'm Sonata-licious. Ooh, a Tottenham!
You think this is a game?
that Adagio Pac-Man.
I know, right?
Yep.
Mom.
No.
Is it bad? I actually kind of want to see like a Pac-Man version based off the Dazzlings and I don't know, Sunset Shimmer, I guess.
No, because I'd like to see that too.
So
Indeed. You can have Trixie as the Force Ghost.
Also, why do I that picture that Sonata pulls down with Arya with the obey hat, the joint, the glasses, and all that jazz? Why does that? I'm kind of at a loss for words with that.
Why is that? Period.
Good point. That's a good point. I think it's because I see it more often than I care to. Anyway, social satires aside, let's move on to the artwork, shall we?
works for me.
So which one do you guys want to go with?
Well, we got two comics here. Oh, two comics with dialogue, I should say. We got one comic by our usual. We got another comic by another usual here. And a bunch of new people we haven't had on the show.
All right, I like that.
I love how detailed an explanation I was on exactly who I had available.
Hang on. Okay. So how about... Which one do you want to go with, again?
Well, we got Beavernator and Tox for our regulars who have got comics in, so we could go ahead and get one of those out of the way if you want.
I'll save Tox for later. Let's save him for last. I always like doing him last. Anyway,
I don't even see him in. So yeah.
So you want to go with Beaver then?
Yeah, Beaver will work. Yeah.
Okay. I said this is yours. I'm going to be more or less. I'm just more or less the hands that do things here. So you're the one who's going to have to dictate things to me.
All right. Well, we got three things. We got Fausticorn, we got Luna, and we got Celestia. Also, we got the, as usual, his comments there, or I should say the description, which goes on. So,
I like how he does that.
That's
Goes
one of
on
the.
and on and on and on.
That's like one of the things that I love the most about Beavernator. Right there is
Yep.
just
He does this 1-2 punch. He'll hit you with either silly or cute in the comics, and then what the fuckery in the description.
By the way, dips on the gold brick.
All right. I'll take Luna,
let's say you know who I'm gonna be choosing.
which is why I chose her.
Yep.
So, Tim, you got Fausticorn?
Yep,
You start.
and the gold. Very well, Celestian Luna. If you want to move out, start your own kingdom, I will happily support you in this endeavor. I've saved about 250 metric tons of gold to finance building your first city and kickstart its economy.
Wait, are you serious? You think we're ready?
Honestly, I have no idea, which is why I fused all the gold into one giant cube and buried it below the very street you're standing on. You'll have to dig it out, carry all 250 tons to your new home, and do all of that in one trip. If you can do that, then I think you've earned it.
A task of such magnitude would probably be optimally done by molding the cube into a spear before moving out what could be a 1,000-kilometer journey. Such physical exertion would leave us prone to all kinds of danger, even then allocating resources to build our new empire would.
And so object!
Da 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 da.
Luna, what would I ever do without you?
You'd be pushing 250 tons alone, obviously.
So much gold bricking.
Lay description.
Mm-hmm.
That was supposed to be an impossible task.
So you're saying we did the impossible?
I guess. How did you know the spell?
I don't know. Ask Luna.
I don't know. Ask the giant gold brick.
What? I see. Like,
I think he likes you.
this is beyond weird.
Going through the effort of smithing loads of gold into a cube and burying it under a road wasn't weird enough.
But that was for my amusement.
Pretty pricey amusement if you ask me.
But well worth it. Of course, I could upset this upset by spawning an even bigger block of gold, thus devaluing your gold and forcing you to return my gold. But why would I want my block of gold back if I can easily just materialize more of it?
So you can create a castle for us on the fly. As in, we don't need to camp out while workers build our new palace for us over the next few years.
Yeah, the economy needs it.
Ah, shoot. We could have brought our camping. We could have brought our camping gear.
Nah, let's live without equipment. We'll filter our own water, make our own treehouse, hunt our own food. It'll be epic.
I like this idea. Moving out by Beavernator. Sorry, were you going to say something?
So yeah, the only reason I did that guttural voice is just for the new people in chat, for the benefit of that. The reason why I give Celestia such a deep guttural demon voice is because I just love the juxtaposition of what is supposed to be technically a solar god empress of good being voiced by what is probably the most evil voice I can muster.
Which is Batman.
So
I wouldn't say Batman is evil.
Yes, I love that theme song so much. So, what's next, Mr. Ben?
well, let's see. I don't see. Actually, hang on. Do I have him in chat here? No, I don't actually see them. I suppose we could go the pancake one here.
Honk.
Let me just go ahead and grab that and Oh, you already did. Never mind then.
You're the host, man.
Okay, so anyway, this here is Pancakes by Underpable. Go ahead and I'll throw it here in the chat room here for everyone.
Mental Gen?
Yeah, I love how Cadence is just doing that on that there. I'm loving how Celestia is just going rip terror dismember. And Twilight's just got pancake on head, stupid goingness on there. Just, not only has she got the pancake actually skewered on her own horn, she's just got the syrup all over her head.
Wait, there's other ways to eat pancakes other than that?
I'm not sure.
I also can't help but notice horn size inconsistency here. I could probably understand, Twilight being relatively recently ascended and all, but Luna's looks like she's got the biggest one out of the 4, and I'm like, that seems kind of weird to me anyway.
Meh. I just like the concept. I love it when people pair the princesses up and have them do stuff. There's one that I saw where they were having a game night, like a video game night. That one was awesome. I don't remember who did it. Doesn't matter. But something like this, why do I see them doing that? Especially in this very manner where they don't care that no one's looking, so let's just stuff our mouths stupid with pancakes.
Admittedly, they would need to have something like this on the show.
I concur.
Yep.
Just a scene with just the two of them acting completely normal, and to them that just means, okay, we're basically just got the robes open, sitting around in the underwear, kind of like that sort of thing, if you will. So, okay,
let's move on.
All right, so I got another. Got a couple of epic ones here. I got this one here by 7ada or 7ada. I apologize if I mess up the name. Got it there in the group. This one is titled Moon Moon. And unfortunately, unlike the meme, it is not anywhere near as silly as it might suggest.
Ooh, I like this one.
So yeah, I'm liking how this one was done by the artist. Sorry about that. Had something stuck in my throat. I think here is just a very well done rendition of how Luna was basically trapped by the nightmare while she was consumed by Nightmare Moon. I'm loving how Nightmare Moon herself is actually just done in that sort of style. Luna herself, I mean, just the detail on her, the wings, the spots of blood where like the rigging is skewering her, the tears in her eyes is just. This artist really went all out here.
The metaphor is my favorite part. The whole idea of the puppet strings.
Agreed.
The Nightmare Moon here is the best.
But yeah, I took that one there, and I was like, okay, yeah, I have to show this in. I was like, she was like one of the first he or she. I apologize again for that. I mean, I got in touch with the artist, like one of the first people that I did, and I was like, okay, yeah, we need to get this in here. The styrofoam. Okay. I see styrofoams in chat. Why don't we go with?
Are we done with Moon Moon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Where did I see that one? Where did I have?
I see it.
Oh, I'm just. Weird. Ah, here it is. I didn't actually have it loaded. Weird. I thought I did, but I didn't. So anyway, we got another comic here. This one is by Styrofoam Peanut. This is another one that both of us actually had to... Elliot and I were just like, okay, yeah, this is another one we have to have in here. So I'm going to go ahead and throw his in the chat room on this.
We're both huge Zelda fans, so I saw this one and I thought it's so got to go in just for that factor.
Yeah, I was like, because this was another one of those things that actually kind of happened where, Elliot got this and he sent this to me and he's like, can you make this make sure that this gets in the show? And I'm like, one step ahead of you, brother. So yeah, we got Derp to the Past here. I'm on panel 1 here. I love how they did the Triforce.
I'm taking him. I'll take him through it since it's on my screen and all.
Okay. But yeah, Styrofoam Peanut here did just. I love how the artist did not just the backgrounds, but Derpy herself, and just that bunny costume though, man.
I think that's the cutest, just because it's one thing to actually become a rabbit, but to just have the costume on, that was a nice touch, though.
Also, that random Flufflepuff out of nowhere, I just bounce right off, and then Celestia, Chrysalis chasing her around. I mean, that is like the best thing right there, in my opinion, outside of the bunny suit, is just having that whatchamacallit, that reference to that thief guy kicking around that ball dude from the original Link to the Past.
Yep, the bully kicking the ball.
So, and I'm like, right there, you can also see that she's got the mirror right there in like that second to last panel. She's like, nuts to this. I'm out. So, I did see him in the yeah, I see him still in the chat. So, Styrofoam, do you have anything to say about this?
Poor NPCs, forced to do whatever they're programmed without question forever and ever and ever.
It's like a Wreck-It Ralph, only not. You know, to be perfectly honest, come to think of it, I think there was an actual ROM hack of Link being replaced by Derpy. And I'm pretty sure there was, and I'd have to look in on that, but I'm pretty sure that there was.
I really like this, the detail that Styrofoam Peanut put into this. It's definitely a tier above when it comes to comic art, so I'm really impressed. How did I not favorite that?
Say, yeah, that's
And again, I've already explained why that is. Don't start hating on me, everyone. I just have to
rabble.
I just have to comment on the art, how detailed it is. I like it. That's all. Anyway.
Okay, so do we want to go with another artwork, or do we want to go for another couple comics here? Because aside from Toxes, we've only got one other artist here with the comic, and
I say we save the comic for a little bit later, just a little bit later. Like,
all right, yeah.
The next one or the second one after that. That's what I would say.
Yep.
Well, it's just as well. Well, actually, we got two other comics here. I am just all over the place today. I don't know. I'm sorry, people. We'll go ahead and we'll save the comics for last then. I actually got a couple art here by another artist, new person who unfortunately wasn't able to make it to the show. Artist by the name of Shaman Ghoulie, or Shaman Ghoulie. I apologize. Yeah, I apologize if I mispronounced that. but we got two of them here.
We've had this person on before.
Really, for some reason I thought we didn't. Well, so you know where you know where I've been, just under a rock.
You wanna let's bring up Heart of Ice first.
All right, that was what I actually had in front of me.
Ooh, I like this one.
Yeah, this is another Nightmare Moon one that I noticed. It was just the everything here was just done really well. You got the background of the winter storm going in there.
I think the top comment got it.
Let's see. Yep. Unfortunately, this is about how I feel how everything is out and where I live right at the moment.
I know, right?
just nothing but winter storms. Winter storms everywhere. I'm so sick of ice and snow. Bring on the summer.
Ditto.
At least you get Nightmare Moon.
How's that a good thing?
She's a pony.
But she's evil.
Still a pony. She's also best artist.
I like I personally want to say I like the background on this one, just because it's very violent, kind of like a good metaphor of what's happened to Luna at this point in time. So, kudos to that, Shaman Ghoulie.
Indeed, very well done.
Alright, shall we move on?
All right, and we got another one here, also by the same artist, called A New Day.
In before the Spider-Man reference.
I thought that was actually...
Let's comment about this, shall we?
Okay. So this one here, has Fluttershy in it, and is much calmer, much more serene, much more relaxed than the previous piece of art that we just seen. I'm loving the contrast here. I mean, you got the last one had a dark, violent overtone with, a broody Nightmare Moon, and here you got a peaceful, serene, looks like dawn. Dawn has just been breaking, and it's just I'm loving the contrast on that.
And it broke into your house. Evil Dawn.
Now I kind of have to. I'm kind of curious why she specifically went with Fluttershy. I mean, I'm not complaining. It's just, I suppose, probably because she complements the coloration here the best. The vibrant pink with everything else.
It's not the first time when Fluttershy gets associated with spring for some reason, and I can understand why people do that.
Yeah, I can too. It's just like I said, nice contrast with the rest of the background, makes her pop out more.
And if I may, would like to say that Shaman Ghouli's very kind of signature composition is pretty nice, because you don't really see that often. That is, you see it sometimes, but it's not often done this well. Because, well, the characters don't really take up that much of her pictures, and they end up kind of giving more role to the landscape, and it becomes a character of themselves essentially. It's not just a background, and I like it.
I concur.
Okay, let's see what we got here. Let's go with Control-Alt-Delete's one here, because we are actually, yeah, let's go ahead and go with that one. So, I'll just why is my mouse not wanting to highlight anything? Just arg. So, okay.
Because there's a cat here.
Okay, so this one I just like. So this one I liked because I'm actually going to be perfectly honest with you. This one wasn't so much because of the fact that it's related to what I have to talk about in regards to the discussion today, but also because of the fact that the artwork here reminded me so much of more of the older, old-timey stuff from like 1920s and 30s. And I'm like thinking to myself, this just evokes Bioshock of what Tim here's been playing over past After Babel with Bronies for the past few weeks.
I was just going to mention that, as a matter of fact.
So I was like, yeah, I had to throw this in there, at least just for that factor. But as we do know, Mr. and Mrs. Cake are married. They are, married couple, and I'm going to be getting into that a little bit more here. But yeah, I just love the cartoony look on this, and I have to admit, I would like to see an actual cartoon based in this sort of fan style here. Just how like MLP would have looked if it premiered in the old-timey West.
Or the 1920s Disney Golden Age.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
The Mickey Pony.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Now I'm getting Simpsons flashbacks. Look, Ma, I'm the head of an evil corporation.
Also, Mr. Cake looks like an alligator.
He kind of does. Either that or a hand puppet.
Why not both?
That Mrs. Cake's cute, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, this one here is kind of interesting. This one is... I wouldn't have thrown this one in if it wasn't for the dang meme that just came up. But we got Luminora's Trixie dress on this one here. This is the next one.
No link on this one. At least
I just...
link.
Yeah.
I got it.
And
I hate you. I hate you so much, Mr. Ben.
I love you too, man. So yeah, anyway, as everyone's been knowing, there's been going around a stupid meme about a stupid dress about how everyone's asking what colors do they see? Do they see black and blue? Do they see white and gold? Do they see purple and orange? I see an eyesore.
Was that a joke?
Actually, to be perfectly honest with you, if it wasn't for the fact that we had a bunch of issues with earlier this afternoon, or early with the stream earlier, yes, that was the joke I was planning on. I was going to have actually a pop-up of eyesore come up from the stream and say, yeah, you're talking about me, boss? And I would have turned off to the side and I'm like, no, I ain't talking about you, you gremlin. Get the hell out of here.
Excuse me for 1 minute.
I don't see any dress, I'm just concentrating on Trixie.
See, I right there, I probably just... that one moment there, probably just really self-absorbed, or... I'm sorry.
Sorry, I had to go throw up.
Yeah, I heard in the background.
Good.
As I was trying to say, I think that one moment there probably sealed my... if there was any doubt that I was ever going to be doing another show on here again, it probably just sealed it. Yep, nope. If it wasn't for that. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, never mind. Go ahead.
Anyway, we got ourselves another thing here. Hate it when my train of thought gets derailed again. But we got another artist here. I believe she is a new. I'm assuming it's a she. I do hate to go off assumptions here. I apologize for that.
And just
But
use this person.
But yeah, we got another individual here who I believe is a new artist on the show, Honey Moth, and the file is called Twidash Kitties. Now, I chose this one not specifically because of the relation to what I'm going to be going over today, but because of the fact that cats.
Tim?
And I am not going to lie, I have actually seen actual cats do this.
Aww.
So,
Toodles.
So, I like how, Twycat there just got her arm, paw was like just wrapped around Dash Cat there. And yes, they are indeed winged cats.
I wonder if they're winged pigs.
Oink oink. But yeah, I love the artist. I love the artwork on here. Just the lighting, the shading, just how freaking adorable they are.
They look so stoned to me.
So yeah, they kind of do actually.
And the wings thing doesn't nearly bother me as much as that horn. Because, horns don't belong on a cat. Period. Also, the right leg is a bit too long, I would say. Otherwise, cats.
Yeah. But yeah, that's I just couldn't help but throw that one in there. So okay, so we are now down to the comics. We did have one other thing of a. We did have one other piece of artwork, but unfortunately the artist never got back in touch with me about it. So can't really show on that one there. So this one here, let's go ahead and go with this comic by, what's the artist name? By Tuffy Live. And we got only two rolls here. We got Celestia. Not Celestia. What am I thinking here? I am just tripping. We got Applejack, and we have an OC.
I'll take AJ.
An Australian.
I'm sorry?
An Australian.
An Australian. So what did you, Elliot? What role did you say you wanted?
I'll take AJ.
All right, I'll just go ahead and I'll do the OC then.
You start.
All right. You sure about this, Applejack?
Hey, yep. You just lay on the table, and I'll do the rest.
All right. Why am I doing this?
Why do I get the impression that this is going to be funny?
Just keep reading.
Comics,
coming up.
that's why.
Oh, my Celestia! Applejack, what are you doing?
Almost there.
Applejack, get off my flank right now!
Hold for a sec, Sugar Cube. I'm putting on a new one.
Oh, Celestia, my flank.
Based on real life events. Just as the description says.
So yeah, so the reason why I chose this particular one has our regulars know, but I'm not entirely sure if our new people in chat do. We have a sort of a running gag / catchphrase here, to where if something even mildly suggestive is said, I'll usually go, context, what's that? So,
how many earth bunnies does it take to change a light bulb?
That's racist.
2, apparently.
So yeah, that's that was what I wanted to show that one. I couldn't help but just throw that one in.
This first comment here, MLP Michael. Meanwhile, in the Justice League.
All right. Shall I move on?
Yeah.
All right. So we got two other artists here. This is another new artist, Jeremy 3. So this is actually not just a series. This is not just a comic. This is actually a comic series. Right now, it's actually got 10 parts to it. I've only got the first two. So.
Oh, sure. Throw the rest of them at me when we're done here. I jest.
But yeah, I specifically chose these first two because it, to me, is slightly similar to what we're going over today. Now, ultimately, if you go through the rest of the series, it's actually not in relation to what I'm going to be going over. But at least it isn't from what I could see thus far. But anyway, I got the... Oh, you already got the first part in the group. Never mind then. So yeah, this is, of course, the Kingdom Hearts Crusaders. We got 3 parts here. Apple Bloom, Sweetie Belle, and Scootaloo. So, who wants who?
I'll take Apple Bloom.
I'll take Scoots. I don't think I've ever done Scoots.
All right, I'll take Sweetie then. We ready to do this?
Ready, Freddy?
All righty, I'll go ahead and I'll start. How are you, Bloomy?
Fine, but I'm cold.
Cold? You thinking what I'm thinking, sweetie?
Scoot?
Maybe.
How you don't know? You...
Yes, she does.
In fact, yes, I do.
You're thinking the same thing at the same moment. Cause you scare me.
End part 1. And there's that. All right.
And part 2 in the group.
Oh, missed one.
Apple Bloom. Apple Bloom only this time.
Just tell me when to start.
Go for it.
Friendly, warm hug.
Yeah. Seriously? All that fuss for what?
Find out next time.
Yep.
Do.
Isn't it always?
So yeah, I specifically chose that because this is another one of those things where if you just look at the first two and just the first two, it's like, again, context, what's that?
I like where this is going. It looks adorable.
So, but yeah, I also chose this one because, again, this is a multi-part one, and I was like, well, okay, I would like to just go ahead and continue to see where this is going, because I have seen through the rest of what's going on, and while I'm not going to show them here on stream because we're kind of running late due to technical issues here, this just kind of leads me into what I do want to discuss a little later here.
But
anyway, let's go ahead and move on. Go ahead and add him in. I don't actually have his Skype I don't actually have his Skype name, so I wouldn't have been able to. Yeah.
hold on.
Fall has hailed.
Yep, yeah, we're getting that. Fantastic.
What time is it?
Tailed. I like
What
that.
time is it? It's toxic time. What time is it? It's toxic.
Why am I imagining that rapping dog?
That's because that was what I was going for.
Window.
It was time
Now.
to wrap it up.
That's why I went right there at the very end, is because I just acted as if I was getting a bullet through my head.
Well, good, because you would have.
Alrighty, well.
For some strange reason, he's unable to join the call, folks, so give him a couple minutes. In the meantime...
Yeah, let's go ahead and just go through the comic here. So, now I see him in the chat room. I see him. Why won't it call it? Huh. Technical difficulties everywhere.
Let me call him. I'm going to call him and it'll put your guys on hold, so give me a minute.
Okay.
Hello?
There we go.
Now, I'm just calling you on here, so I'm going to... I'm calling you privately is what I'm getting at.
Yay.
So, I'll try and add you one last time back here into the group.
Something's wrong with my computer.
Something's
Well,
not
it's something wrong with Skype. It's like when you do a group call for a long time, it actually doesn't allow people to get in. So it's almost in a sense Ben needs to re-kick his call.
Ah.
That's what's happening.
So you want to join the group?
I'm in the group and I'm trying to join it, but the thing is, it's showing Ben's thing is offline.
Oh, I see.
Oh, well.
Hang on. All right, now let's try it.
Okay. Let's see. I wonder if they're allowing me to do two things at once. No, it's not.
It still won't do it.
That's weird.
I'll just take his call and I'll get through this.
Alright.
So one moment. Looks like we're just going to have to...
Just do it one-on-one, that's fine.
So anyway, what he has here is bowest friends forever.
Yes. Boast. Boast, yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Let's go through this. Looks like we have just it's a silent comic. So should I you want me to just show it?
Oh yes, you can show it, yeah.
All right. The sooner we make a schedule, the sooner we can get behind. I'll never forget that saying because it's way too accurate.
Yeah. And I love how this comic was so involved. Oh my god.
Later that day.
And then what is it? Cadence and Twilight.
Aww. Aww.
Hmm.
That's cute.
It is. It is a very involved comic. Oh my god. This one took me... I'm amazed I got it done in 6 days.
Wow.
I mean, every single background... I literally had to redo that last panel and completely rechange all the colors up. Because I did it once, and I had to completely redo all the colors and change them all up again.
Wow. Dang.
Yeah, this comic really took a lot of work to do. So basically, with this comic, it's the first time I've ever drawn Philly Twilight since, oh god, probably since the end of season 2. I did one with Cadence, and I did one with Twilight, and yeah, actually, it was Twilight Shining Armor, and that was the last time I drew Philly Twilight. And just before that, like practically right after the season 2 ended, I drew a Cadence Twilight comic. So it's been nearly 2.5 years, actually almost 3 years, I should say, since I actually have drawn Philly Twilight, or let alone Cadence.
It's been hard to believe that it's been over a year since season 4 ended. I know I'm stepping on toes here, and I hate to say that, but yeah, I know where you're going with that, and or at least to some degree, I know where you're going with that, and yeah, it's been quite a long.
This has been it's been a very long off season trying to keep going with new, fresh comic stuff. Like, what's amazing is that I've been dying to do a Philly Twilight comic for a long time. It's just that this one, I don't know, it just came out of the blue, and it's almost like I said I have to do a Philly Twilight comic now. And it's almost like refreshing because now I can actually do stuff with Twilight. It's just I'm still trying to get used to drawing her because I haven't drawn a Philly version of her in a long time. So throughout this comic, it was more, you could almost see how I'm trying to progress through trying to get used to drawing Twilight. And this one came out alright. I'm pretty pleased with how this Twilight came out. I'm just more impressed with how Cadence came out, considering I've never drawn her teen form before like that. And there's like some Philly elements into her, which is like it's like I couldn't get the normal version of her. So it's like she's a little bit off than what the usual one is, but for just starting out, for not drawing either of those in nearly 3 years, I'm very, very, very surprised and how pleased with that came out. And every single background is new. Every single background in there I did from scratch, and I am not kidding that. I had to do several afternoon streams in order to get this done.
Hey, it paid off, didn't it?
I definitely paid off. This one was... I am shocked just that... First of all, it's my longest comic I've done in probably 2.5 years. It's 11 panels long. But what's really unusual is that I'm working on one right now that has to do with another Philly Twilight and has to do with Shining Armor. Now, I don't know how many people have ever drawn Shining Armor, but he is a freaking nightmare to draw. It's the hooves, and I don't draw stallions hardly at all. So it's definitely gave me a workout. I'll put it that way.
Anything else?
Not that I can think of. Just this comic was very involved. I've done new there's a lot of firsts and a lot of old stuff that I did in this comic where it's like a lot of original. Haven't done the castle in a long time, if not ever. And actually not ever, but again, a long time. Philly Twilight, Cadence song. Overall, this comic came out very well. I'm just very, very, very pleased with how this came out for all the effort that I put into it.
Very good. All right. Hopefully we'll see. Might see you next week.
Maybe. I'll have DBZ Pony then next week.
Booyah.
I'll be on next Sunday for sure.
Take care, man.
All right, yeah, later, guys.
No, Skype, I'm not giving you feedback. All right.
Yo.
Okay. And with that, we are finished with all the videos and art. So, MrBen.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and we'll get into the meat and bones of it all, I suppose. Okay. So, shipping.
Hold on. What about Tim? Do you want him to stay or what?
Well, actually, if you guys want to stay on, that's fine with me. Doesn't really matter.
If there are already 2 people on the call, why not 3?
So I wouldn't mind getting...
You're the host here, Ben. I just only asked because I thought of it.
Well, I'd like to go ahead and get your guys' opinions on this one, because I'm going to just go ahead and... This is what I consider what I would like to call a speculation episode. And we're going to, like Tech says, we got about 30 minutes here as it is anyway. So, running a little over here. So, anyway, so here's this thing. I got a few images here also I want to throw in to add in as some visual aids on this. I'm going to just go ahead and throw them directly into the chat room. So, if you want to go ahead and pull them up by yourself, that'd be fine. So anyway, so we got a bunch of shipping here. This is the whole meat and bones of the issue here. This is what I'm going to...
And you handle the shipping?
Yes. So, yeah, what type of ships you got here? We got, well, obviously, you got your straight ships. You got your not-so-straight ships. Say you got your toy ships.
Toy ships.
Yeah, you got your crack ships. And, well, to be honest with you, the question is, what is shipping? Well, shipping is a fandom term. It's derived from the word relationship or friendship. It's shipping, basically it's involving two individuals, often but not always fictional, to be involved in a relationship, romantic or otherwise. Now, ships are commonly but not always necessarily romantic. The non-romantic can be referred to as merely just friendshipping for fans who want characters to merely be friends. This usually implies that they are against any sort of romantic relationship between said characters. However, shipping in and of itself means any relationship. So the term can be kind of redundant, if you will. So the thing is it's kind of funny because the actual term for shipping didn't actually come into play until about maybe the mid-1990s, which was derived by internet fans of X-Files, which ran from 1993 to 2002, who believed that the two main characters, Fox Mulder and Dana Scully, should have been involved in a romantic relationship, and they called themselves relationshippers, or shippers for short. Now, however, the concept itself was around for far longer than that. The first ship that became widely popular and accepted was, obviously, the Starship Enterprise. No, actually, the first ship that became widely popular was the characters Kirk and Spock from the sci-fi series Star Trek, which began in the 1970s. So, being published only in fan-edited non-profit fan magazines or fanzines and mailing lists, as internet did not exist until the 1990s. This particular pairing was often referred to as K/S, or Kirk/Spock, and is the reason today why most relationships between two same-sexed individuals is often referred to as slash. Also, I want to go ahead and take a moment out here to basically state that mentioning Spock here, I do want to give condolences to Leonard Nimoy's family, who he had passed away not too long ago, as far as I'm aware. So
I wonder if he heard of any of this. Not necessarily read, just knew of. I'm sure he was well aware of the Star Trek fans, but how far they went is what I'm referring to.
I'm sure he has. I'm pretty obvious. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure he was aware of it, especially when the internet got up and started running. If he wasn't aware of it before in the 70s and 80s, I'm sure he was definitely aware of it by come 2000 or so. It's one of those questions I would have liked to have asked him myself had I had the chance to meet him, and it's a question I'll never really get to ask, unfortunately. Okay, so how does shipping relate to friendship is magic? So, obviously, shipping is a vital core to the whole premise of the show. After all, the show is titled Friendship is Magic. So, obviously, there's some emotional investment among characters during the show. So, take for example Twilight Sparkle herself, who wanted to have absolutely nothing to do with making friends from the very beginning of the series, only to learn how important it is from the end of episode 2, and to embrace it so wholeheartedly that she's crowned Princess of Friendship by the end of Season 4. Now, even Discord, who was a villain introduced in Season 2, grows to learn an acceptance meaning, first by his reformation in Keep Calm and Flutter On, the episode 10 of Season 3, and the Season 4 finale. Now, I do apologize that we are getting a little ahead of ourselves, considering that, we haven't actually officially gotten into Season 3 yet, so I'm not going to go into further detail on that.
You can. I don't care.
But, to get back to the concept of shipping, specifically relationshipping, many people often refer to shipping as being in love, or romantic shipping. Now, interestingly enough, friendship itself is actually a type of love.
Platonic.
We kind of have to ask ourselves, you know. See, now this is another part of the joke that I would have, if I had not had a problem with my trying to record this or trying to broadcast this, I would have had a Hadaway joke thrown in here. Because I would have actually asked the question, what is love? And I would have had the song just start playing in the background. And I would have been like, what? Where's that song coming from? But anyway, according to the ancient Greeks, there were 4 types of loves, not just the platonic love, but we had agape, eros, philia, and storge. Now, agape and storge are very similar in that agape is the first type of love, and by itself means love, but while agape and storge both mean like a sort of a brotherly love, affection, goodwill, benevolence, storge is more along the lines of a fondness between familiarity people, between siblings, between parents, child, between uncles and aunts and nieces and nephews. That's sort of that sort of particular love. Agape is more of a all-encompassing, general, unconditional love for every living being. Now, the type of love that Friendship is Magic covers is philia love, which is love between friends or affectionate regards, usually between equals. It is a dispassionate, virtuous love, concept developed by Aristotle. This is more of what people refer to as kind of like the platonic love. A lot of people is something like that. Philia is expressed mainly as loyalty to friends, to family, to community, requires virtue, equality, familiarity, and it denotes it's like a general type, kind of like agape is, but it's more between just not family, but it's more like a desire or enjoyment of activity. This is the predominant type of love that Friendship is Magic exhibits. Now, the final type of love, and this is really more of what the type of love that a lot of shippers do, is the eros love, which is what many people generally refer to when they mean by shipping. That this type of love is defined as being more of an intimate love, such as those between dating or being married. Specifically, a very profound, very passionate love.
Erotic love.
Erotic love. In fact, yes, that's exactly where we get the term erotic, is from that word right there, eros. So, now, however, eros itself could even be further split into further sub-definitions, and I could go further on onto the fuller points of that, but I want to really, since we're running really late here, I'm just going to focus my discussion predominantly centered on Philos here. So, here's the question. This is what I want to ask the audience. What makes people want to ship? Now, what makes, why do people ship? What makes them want to ship? Now, I've probably already answered this, because fandoms like seeing particular characters get together, specifically under reasoning that they like the idea of these particular characters. So I have to ask the question, why do you ship these particular characters? Why do you say, for example, ship between... For people who ship Rainbow Dash with Fluttershy, why is that? I'm just asking in general.
I don't normally ship them, but thinking back to there was one episode of BwB I touched upon this, and I can't remember which one it was. It wasn't that long ago, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. I said that oftentimes people like to ship in general because there's several reasons for it. One of them is, I mentioned there was a trolling reason for it. For literally, they ship them just to troll people, just to annoy people, because, their OTP is wrong. And so just to irritate them, I'm going to ship one character with some different character just to rub that person the wrong way.
I got another couple of pictures here as well to add on as visual aids I'm going to throw in the chat as well. So, go on.
And yeah, Matt the Shadow Man brought up a really good point here. They ship because it's something that they want to see, but may or may not happen in the show. And of course, they may go so far as to want it to happen in the show, as in, I'll say to the point of canon, but we'll get there when we get there in the far future. Anyway, the big reason that I focused on it when I did, whichever episode it was because they may not see them necessarily, especially in the case of slash shipping or hetero slash shipping. They do it because they don't necessarily see that as an actual romance or an actual like a relationship that we see. They see it as the melding of two characters, as in a literal melding of their personalities. That the quiet, shy one and the ultimate extrovert, the ultimate type A extrovert, meld together into the perfect personality.
I see.
This is just something that I saw.
That's a good point on that. So So, all right, so let's go ahead and step away from the particular shipping question for now. Let's just go ahead and focus on established relationships as opposed to by, given by the show. So of course we got your main cast. We got Twilight, we got Rarity, we got Fluttershy, so on and so forth. So, of course we all know they're friends, and we all know how Twilight became friends with them all, but I want to speculate on pairings we don't often see much of. Now, again, to start off for comparison's sake, let's take Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash. Now, we know as early on as the Cutie Mark Chronicles that the two of them went to the same flight school together, and clearly they've known each other for a long time, but do we see them hanging out all that often when it's just the two of them? Well, yes, of course we do. We see them hang out very often. We, look at Sonic Rainboom, Party of One, May the Best Pet Win, opening the Super Speedy Cider Squeeze at 6000, the opening of Dragon's Quest regarding the butterfly migration, Hurricane Fluttershy, the entirety of Hurricane Fluttershy. I mean, that's just seasons 1 and 2 alone. But when you get around to it, I mean, what about when Fluttershy is just spending time with, say, Applejack, and just Applejack? I mean, for starters, we do see them together during part of Applebuck season when Applejack and Winona are attempting to corral the bunnies up, and then again when Applejack literally drags Fluttershy up the mountain in Dragonshy. But the next time we see them together, just the two of them alone by themselves, is in Keep Calm and Flutter On, which is nearly 60 episodes later down the line. So, now, comparatively speaking, we actually see Fluttershy interact with Twilight far more often than we see her with Applejack, such as like during Winter Wrap-Up, Bart and the Hoof, Hurricane Fluttershy as well, just to name a few off the top of my head. But it's really because of this lack of emphasis on these characters that make me speculate upon them and ask these questions as well. Like, for example, with Fluttershy and Applejack, how did the two of these meet? I mean, I understand that they were at least aware of each other as of, Friendship is Magic Parts 1 and 2, but in your opinion, how do you think that Fluttershy managed to introduce herself to Applejack? Like, did the two of them really do anything together before they met Twilight? And since then, have either of them done anything much together since?
I'll let Tim answer this one if he's still there.
I'm still here.
Then her. I'll answer your question then, Mr. Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I'm guessing that you're not really asking much of a shipping question in so much, or a friendship question in so much as just a matter of continuity, of speculating timeline and whatnot. I wouldn't be surprised, honest to God, if Fluttershy did not know Applejack before the events of Nightmare Moon, so I'm guessing that's it. I'm going to just say that.
Well, that's like situation on that. That's what I'm building up to. I'm building into my next examples here, because like I mentioned before, people have made the arguments that, like I said, the characters were at least vaguely aware of one another, but at the same time, it was like they never had any particular reason to actually interact with each other until the events of Nightmare Moon, when Twilight actually came to town, and Moot got the events in motion, which got them to come together as a group for maybe the first time ever. So, but that leads me into my next interaction here. One pair of characters that kind of drives interaction home to me when we observe is the episode of Putting Your Hoof Down. Now, I've mentioned this before, but Pinkie Pie and Rarity kind of stands out to me. Now, I'm not going to lie, I love the episode by itself. I mean, it's one of my favorites, but the reason why Putting Your Hoof Down ranks among my top 5 isn't because of Fluttershy or the fact that the episode is focusing predominantly around her. It's because of these two. Now, Pinkie and Rarity hanging out together really surprised me. I mean, while I know that they're friends, I never really saw Pinkie or Rarity ever particularly doing anything like simply hanging out. The character personalities just sort of clash to me. We've got, on one hand, we have a very refined, very high-class sort of prima donna who's into fashion and would rather much enjoy a posh upper-class garden party hobnobbing with the snobs.
Interesting way of putting it.
Whereas on the other hand, we have a zany, hyperactive pink party pony whose utter goal in life is to bring smiles to everyone's face, and usually does so by employing antics that are delightfully absurd and comically over the top. So, Pinkie and Rarity, to me, just sort of strike me as an odd couple. Now, I understand that Rarity does care for Pinkie and thinks of her as a dear friend, but to see them interacting to me has kind of struck me as mainly as oil and water mixing. I didn't really see Rarity really tolerating Pinkie's antics for very long. I mean, if you hark back to Party of One, we see Rarity spit the punch out that Pinkie made when Rarity learns that, well, Pinkie made said punch was being used as Gummy's bathwater.
Well, that alone should be clear enough for that.
So,
can't say I blame Rarity.
But
I think where you're going with this, though, I'll interject for a minute. It's on the same premise as Rarity and Applejack, as in with any other some friends in real life. Some people do have clashing personalities, but they see or
yeah.
there are some other personality types that do work together. Say, I don't know, they both like to get hard work done. That overpowers all of the clash, and that they're willing to see past those differences.
And that's why I love, seeing this particular dynamic work, because, we don't often see something like this happen.
Go ahead.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, that there's nothing wrong with seeing something like Rarity, or I should say, there's nothing wrong with seeing something like Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy hang out together, because we know they have a history together. We know they have a chemistry together. They have a shared, interest in a lot of things. But then you take characters like Applejack and Rarity, and two so diametrically opposed characters in terms of just base personality and shared interest. And you take an example, that one episode I've can't believe I already forgot the name of it. Well, the one with Trenderhoof. That
Simple
particular
Ways,
one.
Simple Ways.
Simple Ways. Yes, that's it. Thank you. That's a good one right there because you got Trenderhoof coming in, and Rarity was like totally head over heels for Trenderhoof, but then Trender comes in, he basically just blows her off, and he immediately lays eyes on Applejack, and his own heart just starts going ba-bump, ba-bump. And you're like thinking to you're automatically thinking, oh, this is not going to end well. But then, you got the interactions going on with that throughout the episode, Rarity basically whining to Spike about how, you don't know what it feels like to have someone, to pine over someone only for them to not notice you. And I'm just going to say this right now. That is a big kudos moment to Spike right there, for just big kudos. But, I'm going to get more into that when we actually cover that episode. But then we go in towards the end where we got Rarity basically adopting Applejack's mannerisms, her sort of personality, her sort of her manner of dress in order to try to recapture that attention that she's desperately seeking. And Applejack, who didn't want that attention to begin with, is attempting to pretty much do the same by adopting Rarity's own. And the whole episode right there is just perfect example of this interaction that we don't often see, that I would love to see more of this. And it's like, I'm like,
is there a question here?
My main question here is, why do we not see more of this?
Because the story has to take the highest precedence in terms of priorities. That's why. When it comes to writing these stories, and this is something that I think a lot of people don't take into consideration when it comes to these. The story itself must be taken into consideration. Don't get me wrong, folks. I enjoy a good character interaction as much as the next person. Look at what I said about, putting your hoof down. Look at what I'm going to say about Three's a Crowd. Yes. Where else could I go on? Look at what I've said about Look Before You Sleep. That's one of my most favorite episodes for most of those reasons. That being said, especially given the way the show is set up, you're going to have to, at some point, say, how do I make these characters interact with each other and tell a compelling story? You can have all of the the most interesting character interactions you can think of, but at best, you're going to get a clip show. Similarly, you're going to have you can have a great story, but you might not have the best character interactions. It's a scale. It's a balance scale.
So, well, and in that case, it's just what am I trying to say here? Another reason why we don't see a lot of this sort of interaction is because, specifically in regards to certain types of characters, like, say, for example, Rarity and Rainbow Dash, as opposed to, say, Rarity and Applejack. A reason why we probably don't see a lot of specific one-on-one interaction between the two of these here is because redundancy. Rarity interacting with Rainbow Dash would probably be a lot like as if Rarity herself would interact with Applejack. Both Dash and AJ are sports-like, they're physical, they're not afraid to act on impulse in order to settle an issue. The only main difference between Dash and Applejack is that Applejack's a little more down-to-earth and level-headed and would be more willing to resort to reason, wherein words will do the trick, whereas Dash is far more likely to just kick the offending party's face in. And
you can have, how do I want to put this? Given the fact that these six are friends, it's probably a safe assumption, so far as I could say, deduction, that, as I've said before, they see past a lot of their own differences and work together to solve their own problems. It's just like any other friendship here in real life. Some people you're never going to get along with, no matter how hard you try. Others, you click like that, and you're pretty much, you can pretty much start finishing each other's sentences. Most people don't fall at those extremes, of course. Most people fall somewhere in between. You can think of it as real life interacting here. The characters are going to interact at some point, assuming they're established, of course. And you're going to get various outcomes depending on various scenarios, wherever the writer decides to take it.
So, makes sense. Makes sense. It's just, like I said, a lot of the stuff is just more like, it's, to me, I've always just, I have to admit, one of the main draws of the show isn't so much just the storyline, but how, like, say, you have a problem, but then you have a character who's working to overcome that problem. How do these particular characters, work together in order to resolve that issue? Like, you got the beginning of season 2, Return of Harmony. You have all 6 of them working as a well-oiled machine, are about ready to do that, but then Discord separates them and brainwashes all but one of them. And you can see Twilight just trying to work with her friends to try to get them to work together, and they barely manage to do so as, albeit complete, almost incohesive unit. But then at the very end, when she manages to regain to relearn the friendship lessons that she's been sent to Celestia and to take matters into her own hands to fix the problem, I mean, from there, she still utilizes her friends to help overcome issues. Like, for example, Fluttershy dragging the balloon and chasing Rainbow Dash down, because otherwise they wouldn't have been able to catch her otherwise. And then, moving it forward ahead, we got Magical Mystery Cure, where, Twilight manages to muck something up, and then she has to figure out, well, how the heck do I fix this? So it's just one of the things that I love about seeing this show, is just seeing how everyone just sort of connects and go into this sort of how they work together. But getting back to my original point, going into the shipping, at what point do we go from, just mere friendship? At what point do we go beyond that? What makes, again, what is there, like, any specific, well, not really. What am I trying to ask here? At what point do we move on from just friendship? I suppose this could be the same thing for, like, real life scenario here, but like, at what point does a friend stop being a friend and become something more?
I'll let the audience answer before I do.
Yeah.
They seem more interested in something else at the moment, but not.
Yeah,
not
I noticed.
topic.
Yeah. Well, I do notice that. I noticed Dark 92 here is mentioning the cakes here, and the cakes are a perfect example of this here for all of the types of love we just previously mentioned. We got carrot cake, we got cupcake. This is like one of the few actual couples that we show in the show canon that's actually canon. We have a husband, we have a wife, we have a family dynamic, we got, two, children of them. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was mentioned somewhere in one of the what was it? One of the books, I think, that they, even though Pinky is not specifically related to them, they actually love her as if she were another daughter to them.
I think that was mentioned somewhere, yeah.
But
to answer your question, again, it's nothing more. You could answer it with real life scenarios. At what point does it stop being a friendship and become more, I'll say, a love interest? That's a matter of to the individual. Someone somewhere at some point will decide that someone is far more worth their time than a friend. And that's not to trash on philia love, but work with me here for a minute. There's a statement that I love. In order to say I love you, first one must know who I is. And you could basically just answer it that way. Someone sees another in a way beyond a friend. They see what they love in that person, and that is what translates to their love interest.
And it's just, I hate when my train of thought is just completely derailed here. Forgive me, I'm running off of I'm running off of 2 hours of sleep on top of this as well. So, kind of surprised I'm not half falling asleep in my chair. So, in that case, moving on with that, it's like another question is I'm kind of curious as to, like, you know, some people in regards to certain pairings. I mean, I understand where, you know, discounting the troll factor here, discounting the, you know, the shock factor here, disregarding the whole basis of the crack ship, if you will.
Oh, the crack ship. I love these myself.
Yeah, the crack ship. I'm going to admit the crack ship is probably one of my favorite things, just simply for basic humor. I mean, the best I've seen thus far, it has to be Bloomberg and Tom, straight up. It's actually kind of funny because speaking of crack ships, I actually have another point here that I made or that I wanted to make. There's actually, you know, what was it?
Well, why don't we let the audience answer that? What are your guys' thoughts on crack ships?
Yes. Yeah, let's talk on that.
J. Smith.
Actually, to be perfectly honest with you, the best crack ships I've seen would probably have to be the Rainbow Dash and the kitchen sink.
That was I was just gonna say that. I think first of all, I think my favorite crack ships are when it's someone with an object, and my favorite one is just that Rainbow Dash and the kitchen sink.
You know, that actually gets me into my next here. You know, writing and reading and stuff like that. I noticed a lot of this stuff is mainly due to just fan fictions on that, and that's another topic I actually wanted to broach on this here as well. Based off of crack ships, how do people? What are your guys' thoughts on fan fiction in general? Because I noticed that here on Babble with Brony specifically, I mean, we do a lot of fan stuff. We showcase a lot of fan art. We showcase a lot of fan video, but we never really show a lot of fan fiction here. And
the problem with that is because when it comes to viewing videos and pictures, I can do it that fast.
Exactly.
And, you know, if I like it or not, and especially if I have to check for if it's at the appropriate age level, we'll say, to show it. So, for instance, I'm not going to show pornography on here or even self.
Well, obviously not. No.
You know, I'm not going to that extreme. I don't want to. I don't care to go there. I don't even care to talk about it for that matter. That being said, getting back to the topic here, fan fiction, on the other hand, is a completely different beast itself. That one I have to go through and skim. That one I have to actually take time out of my day to read. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't have that kind of time. Especially for, now you say, there are short ones, only about 3,000 words. I still don't have that kind of time. I'm lucky if I get time on my Fridays and Saturdays to do BwB show notes, folks. That's really it. My Fridays and Saturdays, that's all I'm doing is just getting my show notes together. Anymore, anyway. I used to have all week. Yeah. Anyway, getting back onto the topic, that's why we don't show a lot of fanfic here. And why I plead with you guys, send stuff. Send me stuff, especially if you got a fanfiction. Let me see it. Summarize it and tell me it's clean, it's silly, it's serious, blah, blah, blah. So long as I hear that it's clean and silly, I'm probably going to show it.
And, you know, there's been a lot of recommendations I've made actually in the, you know, just privately among not just myself, but some of my friends here. I will have to admit, if there's, I don't know the artist or the author's name on this one. This is probably one of the, speaking of crack ship, this is not a crack ship, but this is just a regular crack fit. This is a episode or a fanfic basically retelling the events of the best night ever. But take the show, with this. Take the episode, but replace Twilight with a sentient fire truck. And just make of that what you will.
Getting back to your crack ship thing, this kind of falls back into why I'm a fan of a lot of things, a lot of crazy things. Crack ships, to me, I'm not, believe it or not, I don't like a lot of shipping, folks, at least in the sense of in the fan fiction side of things, for various reasons. But believe it or not, I do have a special place for crack ships. Do you know why? It's because they're crazy. It's because they are so outlandish, and especially if the author can pull it off right, it's actually done really well. Because, this is, I said, it's how the hay would Applejack ever meet Fancy Pants, or something like that. Or, yeah, the aforementioned Rainbow Dash kitchen sink one. Those concepts alone are already pretty absurd. They're not your typical Twidash or Celestia Discord shipping. You know, that's as good as that can be. It's a dime a dozen and expected. But as I said, the aforementioned RD kitchen sink one. Let's see where this goes.
Well, I have to say some of my favorite ones isn't so much just the crack ship, but also because of what was going on here. It basically takes the concept of the ship and totally deconstructs it.
Yes, that's kind of a that also works too.
The whole concept of the Twilestia one, where you know Twilight and Celestia getting together. I have to admit, some of my favorite stuff is just like, okay, how would this? You know, it doesn't go just state that it doesn't work. It goes into great detail about how it wouldn't possibly work, or how it couldn't possibly work, how it couldn't be, regardless of the feeling of the parties involved.
I think it's funnier when it's not only that, whereas it's nearly impossible, but or it actually is impossible. Like, say the character is dead after this point in time, or something like that. But then, of course, they go through something, like it's either all in the person's head, or the person resurrects as a zombie, or they somehow crack physics and make it work, or something like that.
Admittedly, that's probably one of the reasons why I love Pinkie Pie in that setting, is because Pinkie Pie is physically capable of doing that. Pinkie Pie is just like, I don't know, how can I say this? Pinkie Pie is like the artist's excuse to just go completely hog wild with just breaking physics in every random which way possible.
And then there's Discord.
Yes. But I mean, at least Discord kind of has an explanation for that. He's the spirit of chaos and disharmony, so that it's something that you kind of have to expect from him. But I mean, you take a regular old pony, Earth Pony, who just plain Jane doesn't seem to have anything going for her, and then all of a sudden, holy crap! Did she suddenly just teleport 200 yards in the blink of an eye? And that's among the less crazier stuff that she does. So, but then
go ahead.
But then you got Pinky just doing not just the teleporting, but you got her Pinky sense. You got her being able to just accurately pinpoint stuff, even though she shouldn't have any real reason to figure that out.
But that's why we love her so much.
Yeah, exactly. So, as you were about to say?
No, I'm going to save that for later. Keep going.
One of the best things that I love is just, I have to admit, and again, why I have to ask, what is your crack ship? What is, why do you see this working out in your head?
That's a toughie. Never really thought about that before, to be honest.
I love Matt's one on that one.
Let's see. What's my favorite crack ship? Smoke crack every day. I still think I gotta go with AJ Fancy Pants, just because, at least in regards to in-show universe, because as strange and as improbable as that gets, I think it could work, and I think it would be adorable.
It's actually kind of interesting because she was actually in chat earlier. She's not actually in there now. I'm seeing I do have her on Skype, but we actually had a similar one where it involved Applejack, but instead of Fancy Pants, it was actually Soren. That
one I buy a little bit more.
Yeah, that one I actually buy it too as well. Ship. So it's not. I wouldn't really call that a crack ship myself either, because I do see that it kind of works out in a way, and that's another one of the things. It's more of a reasonable thing that I see working out. Mm-hmm. But it's another one of those things that I have to ask, regardless of where, regardless of it being a crack ship or a reasonable ship or even someone's OTP. I mean, what drives them to think of that as that particular? I mean, what makes them? I mean, why do you really see Applejack, getting together with Fancy Pants? I mean, what makes it work for you?
The improbability and the clashing culture. One of them is an Earth Pony who lives in the mud, basically, or I won't even say in the mud. That's too insulting to AJ. She lives on a farm in a small town who works the land and doesn't hate to be covered in mud. Fancy Pants, on the other hand, is lives in one of the most cosmopolitan cities in this universe. Is very fancy. Probably doesn't. He at least wears very nice suits, and therefore he probably isn't too far into getting it dirty. That being said, he's very much a. I don't think that if he were to take his clothes off, that he would mind getting dirty. I like the fact that he has a very nice, warm personality. And the fact that both of them do as well, I think something could work there.
And then that makes sense. I mean, like with what Tim's mentioning here in the chat room as well. I mean, Fancy Pants he's an awesome guy. I mean, we noticed him from his interactions on Sweet and Elite with just Rarity alone. I don't really see it as being, too far of a stretch that if he were to get involved with Applejack, that he were to actually make it work. Now, on the other hand, like you just mentioned, Blue Blood and Applejack, now that's a totally different story.
And in this case, it's because of the friction that these two are on opposite ends of the spectrum in many ways, that if they somehow got together, as in if you somehow wrote some story where they were doing this, good luck. I want to read that because that sounds funny.
I do too. And actually, to be honest with you, I believe there is a similar fan fiction out there already. I don't think it's with Applejack, but I do know it involves Blue Blood, and it involves something very similar to that, where it's like Blue Blood. Actually, I think it is. I think it is with Applejack. I'd have to look in on that, and I'd have to get back in touch with you on that. But I'm pretty sure there actually does already exist on fanfiction.net a story of exactly that that case with Blue Blood and Applejack getting together against all odds. I think Blue Blood, the concept of that is that Blue Blood gets evicted from Canterlot for basically being a selfish, stuck-up brat, and is forced to go work on a farm to learn humility, where he meets Applejack. But either way, though, I mean, still, aside from that, I mean, to actually have something like in the regular show canon where it's just Applejack coming from Ponyville, meeting Blue Blood and Canterlot, and the two of them somehow falling for each other despite impossible odds. That would be awesome, like what you mentioned. Yeah.
I think more important, though, than when they come from opposite ends of the personality spectrum, I think it's funnier still when it's merely a personality clash. Look before you sleep, basically.
That's a good one right there. Didn't even think about why I didn't even bother using that one as an example. But we'll see. Another one of the reasons why I went through the notes here is not so much because of the fact that this works as a group, but I was focusing more along the lines of specific one-on-one character interactions as a duo. But springboarding off of that, why don't we go ahead and springboard from the concept of a couple, but why don't we go ahead and add in a third mixture to this? Why don't, instead of going from the OTP, let's go to the OT3?
And now you could just keep going on, and not even necessarily in a romantic sense.
Yeah.
Well, then you're just diving into love triangles.
Yeah. And that in and of itself is not a bad thing specifically.
Well, it depends on how it's written, of course. I mean, if all of a sudden we get this.
Yeah. But again, like the issue with like I said, with Simple Ways, you got Rarity, who loves Trenderhoof, who loves Applejack, who just simply loves apples.
That's insulting to AJ.
So,
but I know what you mean by that. This is, again, another kind of story element. The ideas of, all stories need some conflict. Even if it's as stupid as a character needs to get a glass of water, or a character wishes to learn their ABCs, for like small children. It's nothing more than that, and that's what makes it so compelling. Simple Ways, depending on how you want to look at it, of course, if you like it or you don't, but I'll work off the assumptions of what they give us there. What makes it work is that conflict. Not necessarily that Trenderhoof loves AJ in so much as Rarity loves Trenderhoof. And by the way, I like the twist that AJ has no care for Trenderhoof myself. That was actually
I loved
it was
that.
actually
That
funny.
was awesome.
Because in most love triangles, it's one person loves, or
Character A loves character B, who loves character C, who in turn loves character A.
not necessarily. It might be character A who loves character B and character C who loves character B.
Uh-huh.
Right. But yeah, in this case, it's just character A loves character B who loves character C, who has no care for either one of them in a romantic sense. But anyway, where was I going with this? That's the point of what makes Simple Ways work, its story anyway, is the fact that there's this conflict here, attention-seeking from Rarity's perspective, and that compels her to take extreme measures when things don't work, i.e. going so far as to basically imitate and become a stereotype of Applejack. That works. I'll get back to that when we actually get there, but
Yeah, that would probably be a best idea, just to save that to go further into discussion when we get there. But
do you have anything else? 'Cause I got a few questions I'll ask.
actually no, I'm at the end of my notes. What little I actually have.
So I got a question for everyone here. Why do you think people... No, we kind of already asked that one. But
We kind of already asked that one,
I
yeah.
was thinking. I'm trying to remember it. It was something like a deviation from that. Do we ask them their opinion on fan fiction and fan works in
Yeah.
general?
Well, we asked them about how they felt about fan fiction.
Not
Yeah.
necessarily how they felt, but in the sense of... Do we ask what would compel a person? Yeah, we did. That's right.
Oh, well, I think we did in that sense. Not so much specifically regarding to fan fiction in general.
Well, I said all fan works itself. But
Yeah, all
I
fan.
think we did.
Yeah.
One thing I want to note that I don't think anyone said or mentioned was, say what we will about fan fiction itself, and you could go this to entire fan works for itself. So art, like comics, especially series type comics, and videos. Say whatever we will about them. We oftentimes do stick an infamous tag on them in the sense of that, try and keep it clean, that all we get out of it is just who can we ship Rainbow Dash with, using ponies as a specific example. Oftentimes it does boil down to that, but for what it's worth, I will say this to them. Regardless of what they do, whether it be a ship fic, slash or hetero slash, crack ship, maybe it's not even a shipping fic in any sense of the word in general, it's just a adventure story. Whatever it might be. Say whatever we will about this. This is the imagination playground of the entire fandom. And in most cases, understand that a lot of people, this is them expressing their love of something. Does that necessarily mean that it's always good or always... I'll say within acceptable levels, we'll say. Of course not. You're going to find your extremely weird cases like, Sonichu or Cupcakes. Or, well, no, that's more of a troll fic.
Sorry.
What else?
I'm sorry.
Things like that. You're going to, of course, find extreme cases like that. But generally speaking, when you look at a piece of art that we show on here, or maybe something we don't show on here, or you read a fiction, whether it be a silly one, a serious one, an adventure one, again, whatever, try and think about this sometime when you're looking at it. What is the artist or author? Why are they doing this? What would compel them to do this? And yeah, the general answer is, of course, they love the show. But there might be a little bit more to it than that. And try and answer that. See what you get. Come back to me when you have a few examples and instances to tell me.
Actually, I could go ahead and answer that for you right now, to be honest with you. One of the reasons why I love it, isn't so much because I love to do it. This is actually kind of in a similar instance. It's not so much, writing fanfic, but I'm going to admit this. I've mentioned this before on the show. I believe I mentioned this before on the show. I don't think I've actually mentioned this to... I'm sorry, I'm trying to thought here. I mentioned this in the chat, but I don't think I've ever actually mentioned this on the show proper. But I'm a role player. I role play a lot. Not specifically like tabletop Dungeons and Dragons. I've done that maybe a couple times myself. But what I mean by it is I actually go on forums and I go utilize IM functions like Skype and IRC and AIM, and I actually get in touch with people and I write out stories with them to be able to do this sort of thing. And to me, what I do, the reason why I do this is because it reminds me a lot of acting. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little bit of a background of myself, but when I was in high school, when I was, still, a young teenager, I took like 4 years of theater. And that was like my favorite thing to do in school, was just be up on stage and act. But the thing is, when you're acting, you're not specifically just reading lines off of a script. You're getting into the character, and by getting into the character, you're doing research into the work itself. You're understanding the setting, the environment. You're getting into the mindset of the character, their thought patterns, their likes, their dislikes, their motivations, their whole reason for being, practically, and why they're doing what they do. Like, take Shakespeare's Hamlet, for example. You got the character Hamlet, who's predominantly motivated by revenge because his father's been killed and he suspects his uncle as being behind it, and his uncle marrying his mother, and he's just he's visited by the spirit of his ghost, his father's ghost, who's basically stating, avenge me. And it just sort of drives him mad as he's continuing to try to keep his end of the bargain on that. But to me, roleplay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
To me, roleplay is like acting in that sense. It's just, I'm not actually on stage. I'm not performing in front of an audience, but I'm still playing a role. I'm still getting into the mindset of a character. I'm still writing out a situation about how, okay, this is okay, I have an issue here. I have a problem. How would this character handle that problem? And it's not just so much in conflict, or regardless of whether it be through character or through environment, but it also leads me to, how would this person interact with another individual? How would they get in touch with how would they be able to focus on this? It's actually really funny because you could ask one of the people in here in chat, Crazy Rabbit Pony. She's one of the people I role play with. I actually was playing Rarity, and we actually had it to where she had a character who was originally designed to be a foil, or not really a foil, but a love interest for Applejack, and I was also playing Applejack at the point as well. But the funny thing was, even though I was playing both Applejack and Rarity, I will admit this, and I hope that she forgives me for stating this in public on chat. But the best thing that I loved doing, I think one of my crowning achievements, was not just to play as Rarity, but also to play her in such a way to where the character who was originally in love with Applejack shifted his affections for Rarity instead. And got it to the point to where at this point he is now consistently a boyfriend for Rarity whenever we utilize these two characters in another work of ours.
I didn't know you role played.
Yeah.
Huh. You learn something every day.
So.
Anything else?
Nothing really comes to mind for me.
Okay, me neither. So why don't we wrap this up?
It's toxic time. It's toxic time. MrBen goes through the window again.
Thank you. Next week, folks, I'll just reveal a little secret here. I was trying to, for the month of February, or even March for that matter, I was trying to get as many past interviews in as I could, kind of as a where are they now situation. Well, that fell through for pretty darn fast. But I did manage to get one of them. Next week, March 8th, we're going to be re-interviewing the Traveling Pony Museum, Inky Notebook.
Yes.
So, join us again next week. Same time, 4 o'clock, for Inky Notebook's re-interview. Until
same
then,
pony time, same pony channel. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
Nah, I don't blame you. In the meantime, on behalf of myself, MrBen.
Take care,
And
everyone.
me.
And of course, Twilight is Magic, yes.
I was waiting for MrBen to get his sign-off done. And then, yeah, Twilight is Magic.
Yeah, that's right.
Farewell, everyone.